When you first step into the world of Grow a Garden, it feels a bit like walking into a brand new town where everything is bright, promising, and full of possibility. The sun shines over your small patch of soil. The wind carries a soft breeze through the trees, and the music hums in the background like a quiet welcome. You look around, heart racing a little, not because the game is fast-paced or competitive, but because you're standing at the start of something. Your own garden, your own little world to grow, manage, and master, and then it hits you. You're not quite sure where to begin. The seed menu opens, rows of options displayed before your eyes, some colorful, some plain, each with its own little personality. You scroll slowly, absorbing the names, the shapes, the tiny hints about how they behave. But if you're like most beginners, you're asking yourself one big question. Which of these crops is actually going to help me grow fast? Which one will bring in coins early and keep me moving forward before I even have a proper setup? It's tempting to go for the flashy ones first. You know the type, rare seeds with mysterious names and longer timers. They look powerful, but early on, before you've got advanced tools or passive bonuses or multiple plots working for you, those long-term crops can feel more like a waiting game than actual progress. And in a game like this, momentum is everything. You want to feel that cycle, plant, water, grow, harvest, and you want to feel it often. Because with every action, every tiny harvest, you're learning how to work your land, how to build efficiency, and how to spot patterns that others might miss. That's why the real gems in the beginning aren't the rarest crops. They're the most reliable ones. The ones that slip under the radar because they're not dramatic. But they're fast, they're forgiving, and they reward you for being present, for paying attention, for checking in. These are the crops that teach you not just how to earn coins, but how to play the game. Imagine this. You start with a basic seed, one that doesn't require much. You plant it. It grows quickly, just enough time for you to water another patch or rearrange something. And then, boom, it's ready. You harvest, plant again, and the rhythm begins. It's not glamorous, but it's satisfying. That first little row of plants becomes your training ground. And in the background, coins start to accumulate that you'll notice how some crops seem to click with your schedule. Maybe you're checking the game every 10 minutes, or maybe you're playing during breaks. These fast-growing crops reward that kind of frequency. They give you something for your time, something consistent. Before you know it, you're managing 3, 4, 5 rows of quick-growing plants. Each one gives you a return that feels immediate. And that sense of progress? It's addictive. You're not just watching your garden grow, you're driving it forward. Then comes the moment of curiosity. You look at your seed tray again and pick something new. A little slower. Maybe this one takes twice as long to grow. Maybe it's more sensitive. But you're curious. So, you plant it on the side, just one row. You go back to your reliable crops, keeping the rhythm alive. And eventually, that slower crop matures. You harvest it. And what it gives you isn't explosive, but it's worth it. You've just discovered something powerful. Pacing. Now your garden has layers. Fast crops fill in the gaps. Medium timers bring in bigger returns. You start planning, checking the time, deciding what fits where. Suddenly, your garden feels like a living system. You're no longer just reacting. You're strategizing. And it all started with that simple, humble seed that seemed too basic to matter. You begin to notice that certain beginner crops behave better in clusters. Some work great in bulk. Others shine when used to balance out your grid. You mix them together, not randomly, but with intent. You might keep 2 rows for the fast, dependable ones, 1 row for the mid-timers, and maybe 1 patch for that slower crop you're testing. It's a quiet dance between time and reward, between habit and experimentation. Here's where it gets even better. As you grow more confident, you realize that these starter crops aren't just stepping stones. They're essential. Even after you unlock more complicated seeds, these crops remain useful. Why? Because they give you options. Let's say you're short on time, you plant the quick ones. Got a long day ahead. Drop in a slower crop you trust. Going to bed soon? Use your dependable overnight growers. These early game crops adapt to you. They let you shape the game around your life. And sometimes, the most unexpected crops become your personal favorites. Not because they give you massive returns, but because they always deliver. They're the quiet workhorses of your garden, the ones that fill space, complete orders, or round out your rotation. They don't ask for much, but they keep your garden moving. As you keep playing, something shifts. You're no longer planting randomly. You're building systems. You're thinking in patterns. You understand growth cycles. You check your tray and know exactly what to plant based on how much time you have, what your goals are, and what the rest of your garden is doing. And through it all, those beginner crops remain. The ones that helped you find your rhythm. The ones that gave you your first rush of coins. The ones that taught you that success isn't just about high-tier seeds or flashy rewards. It's about consistency, strategy, understanding the land. Because in Grow a Garden, progress isn't built on one big harvest. It's built on dozens, maybe hundreds, of small ones. It's not about luck. It's about knowing what works for you and the crops that make that possible. The ones that turn new players into confident gardeners are those simple, humble, fast-growing crops you first overlooked. So when you open your game, don't rush past them. Don't chase the rare ones right away. Start with what works. Build your rhythm. Master your soil. And soon, your garden won't just be growing. It'll be thriving. Every seed you plant, every choice you make, will be part of a bigger picture. A smarter garden. A stronger start. Asterisk, and just when you think you've found your groove, you experiment. Again, another beginner crop catches your eye. Maybe one that takes a little longer, but feels more substantial. You try it. At first, it throws off your flow. You're not sure if it's worth the wait. But then it matures. You harvest it, and something shifts. This one feels heavier. Not just in what it gives back, but in the strategy it introduces. You start mixing both crops, fast and slow. Suddenly, your garden has layers. Depth. Now you're alternating. One patch for the quick gain. One patch for the slightly longer haul. And what happens next is magic. You start planning. Not guessing. Planning. You check the time, think about your next visit, and plant accordingly. You're not just reacting, you're predicting. And all of this is happening without needing the top-tier tools or premium unlocks. It's just you and your understanding of the land. Asterisk, with each harvest, you begin to recognize patterns. You notice how certain crops behave better. In certain spots, you experiment with spacing. Maybe you even try planting a crop others say is not worth it, only to find it fits perfectly between your two main ones. It becomes your bridge, the little filler that keeps things moving while the bigger crops mature. These discoveries aren't loud. They don't flash across your screen in gold letters. But they matter. They make your garden yours. And the best part? It all begins with one crop. One choice.